Hello, hello. Welcome to NJ Thrive's Small Business Webinars. I hope you're all doing well. Today is Thursday, May 11th, and you are attending NJSBDC's weekly webinars created to help New Jersey small business owners start, grow, and thrive. I hope you can hear me clearly. If you cannot, please let us know in the chat. We will do our best to help you. My name is Uzma Sheikh. I am your moderator for the day. And if you are new here, welcome. If you have been attending our webinars, then thank you so much for your support. I'd like to give you a brief introduction on what NJSBDC is. So the acronym stands for New Jersey Small Business Development Centers Network. The network is situated all throughout the state of New Jersey, as you can see on the right in the map. We're a statewide program powered by the SBA, which stands for Small Business Administration, and statewide and local partners to help small businesses in New Jersey with mainly three things: no cost small business consulting, training and events starting at $0, just like this one, and exclusive small business resources. If you are a small business owner, then I ask that if you'd like to share, please let us know in the chat what your small business is about, what you do, what your contact information is if you'd like to share, such as your website or your phone number. And who knows, you might find a partner, investor, some supporter in the chat, since this might as well be networking. All right, so right to start off the bat, America Seed Fund Week. It's starting next week from May 15th to 18th. And this is very important because at the NJSBDC state office, we have our tech team, which we call a tech team. It's to support our tech organizations or small businesses who participate in R&D or any advanced technologies. So that's next week and upcoming. So make sure to keep an eye out for that. We do have our tech team, and to give you that website, it's njsbdc.com/tech team if you're interested. We do our webinars, so make sure to check them out as well. So on the agenda, we have a couple of headlines that we like to share from our small business community, what's happening throughout New Jersey. Then we have our presentation, and then we'll go to our Q&A, our questions and answering session that we like to do after. All right, so on the agenda, I know it looks like a lot, but I'll make sure to keep this brief, since I do want to get to our presenters, since they might have a lot of information to share. All right, so the first link, all of these links that I will be mentioning and going through, they will be shared in the chat by our webinar assistant, so you can, at your leisure, you can look through the websites and all the details. So like I mentioned, America Seed Fund Week is next week. Make sure to register because registration is open. And what is the Seed Fund Week? It's a series of virtual events representing a collaborative outreach effort that will connect entrepreneurs working on advanced technologies and the organizations that support them to the country's largest source of early stage funding. That's very exciting. The Startup Expo of 2023 is also being kicked off during that week. And please sign up if you're interested or this is relevant to you. All right, moving on to our next series of links. They're from NJEDA. Our press releases are from NJEDA. First one is published on May 9th. 2 days ago, NJEDA awards over $1 million through Food Security Planning Grant Program. This funding will help local and county governments improve food access in New Jersey's food desert communities. These are 9 grants awarded, totaling over $1 million to 7 county and municipal governments to support the development of plans to improve food access. If you'd like to read the entire thing on who was awarded the 7 grants, you can find them here. Moving on to the next one, NJEDA highlights over $8 million in support approved for manufacturers to date under the New Jersey Manufacturing Voucher Program. These enable manufacturers to purchase equipment to improve production processes. Approved over $8 million in vouchers to 69 New Jersey manufacturers under this program. Next one, NJEDA Board approves inaugural group of qualified venture firms for the New Jersey Innovation Evergreen Fund. This approval allows venture firms to apply for co-investment capital to support high growth companies. And they have approved the first 3 venture capital firms, and they will be onboarded to the NJIEF platform. All right, moving on to the next one. Released today, NJEDA Board approves guidelines establishing the stranded assets repositioning investment. Approved projects will be eligible for investment funding from $25 million in state budget funds. And last one, this is an update from business.nj.gov, turn net operating losses into capital. So any technology or biotechnology companies with fewer than 225 US employees may apply to sell a percentage of their net operating losses and unused research and development tax credits. This submission deadline is 11:59 p.m. on June 30th, so next month. And just to show you what I was talking about for our NJSBDC tech team, this is our website, and this is an exclusive technology commercialization team providing technical support and guidance to eligible innovators for SBIR and SCTR grants to fund the R&D towards commercialization of tech innovations. All right, a lot of information shared. I want to get to our presenters for today. Oh, before we get to that, things to keep in mind, some housekeeping rules. So type your questions in the Q&A box. You'll see that in the panel on the Zoom bar panel, you'll see chat and Q&A. In the Q&A, please ask your questions so that we may address them in the session after. If you put them in the chat, they might get lost, and we want to make sure to address your questions if you have any. The presenters will have a slideshow, and if you'd like to access that slideshow, then please complete a survey that is being shared. The link is being shared in the chat, and you will receive the presentation. All right, without further ado, we have Kathy Guzman and Michelle Osorio today. They're senior small business liaisons at NJEDA for Grow Your Business with NJEDA Small Business Grant Programs. Kathy and Michelle, we're so honored to have you. Thank you so much for agreeing to do our small business webinar for today. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Of course.
Let me share my screen. Okay, if I did that right, everybody can see my presentation?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Huh. Let me try again.
There we go.
Those are your notes.
It's there. How about now?
Yep.
There we go.
Okay, there we go. Technology always takes a second or two, doesn't it? Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. My name is Kathy Guzman, and that's my colleague, Michelle. I'll give a little wave, Michelle. We appreciate the invitation from the Small Business Development Center. We have a lot of information to share with you today. Before we get started, I just want to give you a little bit of background on our team and a little bit of background about the NJEDA. I joined the NJEDA earlier this year after owning my own small business for several years. And the reason I joined is because I believe small business ownership is crucial to improving access to opportunity and economic growth for all communities in New Jersey. It's something I'm passionate about, and that's why I'm with the EDA. Our team brings together diverse experience in small business ownership, community development, finance, and nonprofits. Our job, the 4 of us, is to share information about EDA programs by meeting with community partners and small business owners across the state. You will hear from Michelle shortly. Michelle and Alberto are also fluent in Spanish, so they often are assisting Spanish-speaking business owners. We're grateful to the SBDC and our other partners for helping us spread the word about these programs. There's only 4 of us and we can't get to everybody. We try. Some weeks Michelle and I really pack in those events, but we can't get to everybody. So having partners like the SBDC that share our information is really, really important to us. And also I'd ask each of you, if you hear about a program that may or may not be appropriate for you, tell your neighbor, tell somebody in your business group, help us share the information and get it out there. 2 of the challenges of small business ownership, and I know there's lots of them, are access to capital and access to information. I know some days there seems to be not enough time to get it all done. You're running in circles, you're working 7 days a week. So the fact that you guys are here listening and learning and getting the information that can help your business grow and move forward is a great thing. So just keep in mind, there are so many resources in New Jersey. The SBDC is a great one, the NJEDA, there's the Business Action Center, there's volunteer organizations. Try to learn as much as you can from each of them because there are so many amazing resources. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the EDA, and Uzma also gave you an overview of some of the new programs. The EDA is the state's principal agency for driving economic growth. The goal is to increase equitable access to opportunity, support high quality job creation, catalyze investment, and foster vibrant, inclusive community development. There are about 40 active programs across these categories. These include things like the Child Care Center Improvement Grant. Yesterday at our board meeting, additional funds were added to that program. So that's a program that will give a child care center money to fix up their facility. Another program is the ZIP program, the Zero Emission Incentive Program for medium and heavy duty vehicles, and that's to move those vehicles away from gas to electrified vehicles. The MVP program, which was mentioned earlier, the manufacturing voucher program, that provides equipment and advanced manufacturing. And again, money was just added to that program. The Innovation Fellows program supports entrepreneurs, and the Angel Investor program is another program for entrepreneurship. The NJ Cells program provides funding for clean energy projects. I can go on and on, which I won't. The ones I mentioned are ones that can be relevant to a smaller medium business, and that's why I pointed them out, but there are so many. Today, we're going to focus on small business services and financing. And there are 3 grants that Michelle's going to tell you about that are open right now. So I'm going to turn it over to Michelle.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Kathy. Perfect. So today I'll be talking about 3 programs that are part of the Main Street Recovery Program, which was designed to provide financial support for small businesses and nonprofits in the aftermath of COVID-19. The initial appropriation for these programs was $100 million to support New Jersey small businesses. And these include the Small Business Lease Grant, the Improvement Grant, and our newly launched Small Business E-commerce Support Program. Next slide. Perfect. So to start off, to be eligible for any of these programs, a business must meet the SBA definition of a small business, provide a tax clearance certificate, and be in good standing with the Department of Labor and Department of Environmental Protection. And these programs are open to commercial businesses and nonprofits. So we're going to start with the Small Business Lease Grant. And this program provides 2 grants of 20% of annual lease payments to businesses or nonprofits entering a new or amended lease. The lease must be a minimum of 5-year term, and the lease must be signed within 12 months of application date. That is very important to keep in mind. The payments are 20% of 1 year's rent paid upon grant approval, and the second 20% payment after 1 year, which is putting capital back in a business in the early stages when it's needed the most. 40% of the times, and there is a $100 approval fee. Next slide. Next slide.
Do you see the lease eligibility slide?
Now we do.
Okay, sweet.
Perfect.
Okay,
Thank you, Kathy.
sure.
So this program is designed primarily to support new leaseholders. An eligible lease must be for 250 to 10,000 square feet of office, commercial, or retail space, again, with a minimum of a 5-year term. It must include first floor street level space, and it must be a new lease or an extension of an existing lease that adds space of with a minimum of 250 square feet added. Next slide. I don't think, okay, there we go. Sorry, guys, technology is funny sometimes. There are some important program rules. You cannot terminate an existing lease and enter into a new lease in order to apply for the grant. The only way you can to amend a lease is if you're adding a minimum of 250 square feet. The landlord cannot have an interest in the tenant's business. And of course, if you default on the payments or leave the space before the 5-year minimum, you will have to repay the grant. Next slide.
We have just a little bit of a delay between the slides. That's all.
Not a
Do you see it? Yeah.
Yep, there we go.
Okay, great.
All right, awesome. So all Main Street recovery programs include wage requirements, which are employees must be paid the greater of $15 an hour or 120% of minimum wage. For any tipped employees, the requirement is 120% of the tipped wage. And again, just reiterating that there is a 5-year commitment. All right, now we're going to move on to our small business improvement grant. And this grant provides up to $50,000 for costs associated with facility improvements and the purchases of installations of furniture, fixtures, and equipment. This is a reimbursement grant. The project has to have been completed and paid for prior to your submitting an application. Reimbursement is 50% of total eligible expenses up to $50,000. If a business applied with $100,000 of eligible expenses and met all the requirements, they would be able to receive a $50,000 reimbursement grant. Your business is limited to one application per EIN, and there is a set aside, again, for businesses in opportunity zones and a $100 approval fee. Thank you for bearing with us.
Are you there? You were a little frozen. You're okay?
Yep.
Oh, now you're back.
Good.
Okay.
There we go. All right, great. So some of the eligible projects include interior or exterior improvements and furniture, fixtures, and equipment. This can include equipment specific to your business type. In order to apply for the grant, the work must have been completed. From the date of application, you can submit expenses that go back exactly 2 years. You must provide documentation for the expenses or improvements that you have made. So I always tell everybody, make sure you keep receipts. If you worked with any contractors, make sure you have the invoices and copies of the methods of payments. Home-based businesses are eligible for furniture, fixtures, and equipment only. Okay, so this can include a computer, a desk, a chair, a monitor, printer, anything that helps you run the business. Any projects over $50,000 are subject to green building standards, and affirmative action forms are required for contractors with 4 or more. We have 4 or more employees, regardless of the amount of employees that worked on your actual project. They would have to fill out affirmative action forms. Next slide. And as I mentioned previously, the grants include wage requirements for the improvement grant, you must stay in the space for 2 to 4 years, depending on the size of the grant. So anything under $25,000, 2 years, you commit to staying in your facility for 2 years. Anything above $25,000, you commit to staying for 4 years. Next slide. Okay, so now I'll be talking a little bit about the Small Business E-commerce Support Program, a program I'm personally really excited about. This program provides free e-commerce and digital marketing services to restaurants, retail, and personal care businesses. This program was designed to help small businesses upgrade their technology and addresses an area where many small businesses were exposed during the pandemic. This program is consultant-led, and there is no application through the NJEDA. Next slide. Can you see me?
Mm-hmm. We can see you.
Perfect.
Do you see the slide?
All right. Okay. Not yet. It hasn't changed on my end. Okay, there we go. All right. Eligible businesses include restaurants, retail, and personal care businesses located in a commercial location with a physical storefront. Nonprofits are not eligible for this program at this time. Contractors will verify eligibility, but please note that the definition of a retail can be broad as long as the business sells a product or service from a physical storefront. All right, next slide. Awesome. So once you are deemed eligible for the contractor will provide a proposal for services based on your business needs. And services include e-commerce platform design, web page design, online ordering, appointment booking, marketing, and training. So some of the ineligible services are ongoing costs, fees associated with apps and or services. Next slide. All right, and there are no fees for this program. There is no application process. The NJEDA will pay the consultants directly, and consultants are the point of contact. So on our next slide, we will share a list of the 7 contractors that are working on this program. So all you need to do, if you qualify under the restaurant, retail, or personal care industry, and you have a physical storefront, you can contact them directly and they will walk you through the process. For restaurants and personal care, you can get up to $11,400 in support services, and for any retail stores, you can get up to $10,800.
And Michelle, I just want to jump in here and just add that the definition of a retail store can be broad. A print shop where you walk in and you can order your business cards, that's considered retail. A veterinarian where you go in and you know, if there's services for your animal, that could be considered retail. So just broaden your idea of what retail is and don't think of it just like as a mom and pop store, because you may be eligible under this program.
Absolutely. Even a laundromat, if I can walk in and purchase goods or services, it is considered a retail store. All right, and there's our list of consultants. So this can also be found on our website. Please feel free to visit the njeda.gov to download a list of all the consultants in your area.
Yeah, and just to reiterate, this is very different than the way NJEDA has launched programs before. Basically, the consultant is the direct line of contact. So you don't contact the EDA, you contact one of these consultants and you work with them. And the great news about that is things are moving really rapidly. They're moving very fast. So it's a great model.
Absolutely. So if you don't have a physical storefront, but you know somebody that does, please share and spread the word. This is a great program. There are no costs or fees associated with it. And just getting everybody online to be able to compete in this digital era is really important.
Absolutely. Okay, so next, we're just going to do a quick overview of business banking. It's not going to take a long time, I promise. And then we'll get to questions because I see that there's a lot of questions up there. So just an FYI for everybody, the NJEDA, New Jersey Economic Development Authority, does have banking. So this is kind of an overview of our small business banking products. So the Small Business Fund is for businesses in operation for 1 year or less with less than $3 million in revenue. And if you are profitable, okay? So what the NJEDA bankers do not take commission. They're government servants just like we are. So they're always happy to talk to you, and they're always happy to kind of point you in the right direction if they don't have the right product for you. These loans do require collateral, the Small Business Fund and the Direct Fund. The advantage of going with these funds is that the rates sometimes can be lower. The Premier Lender Program is important for everybody to know about. So basically, the NJEDA partners with lenders to ensure that there's enough resources and enough capital for small businesses. So essentially what they do is, and I'm going to go to the next slide. Essentially what the EDA does is takes part of the risk. So say a business wants a $500,000 loan and the bank's not comfortable with that, they will bring in the EDA, and the EDA will take on part of the loan. And everything goes through the bank, but the EDA underwrites part of the loan. And typically what the EDA underwrites is going to be at a lower interest rates. So it will bring the overall interest rate down, and it will allow the bank to spread out their risk a little bit. So if you bank with any of these folks, just know that this program's available, because not every person that works at every bank maybe knows that they're part of this program. So just bring it up, say, are you a Premier Lender? Is there something that we can do to bring the EDA in? Because it really is a terrific program. And they are adding new banks. Apparently there's about 6 or 7 banks that are going to be added to this list. And then I'm going to go back to this other slide. So in this last column over here, this CDFI loan to lenders program, this is where the EDA helps. Obviously it's indirectly, but it's where we help small businesses that don't qualify for traditional bank financing or startups. So the NJEDA essentially loans, we basically loan to lenders. We loan money to community development financial institution, and those are the folks that loan to the small and micro businesses and entrepreneurs and startups. So those are organizations like GNAC, the Greater Newark Economic Development, UCEDC, which is a mouthful, and which is Union County Economic Development, the New Jersey Community Capital, Pursuit Lending is another one. So just know that, if you're in the early stages of needing funding and you haven't had success with your local bank, that the CDFIs are probably a good place to start. And the amazing folks at the Small Business Development Centers will probably tell you this as well. So that's all I have, and I'm sure there are lots of questions, so let's go there. I see 51 in here. Okay.
So I am answering some of the questions. I'm typing up the chat.
Okay, I think I'll just start going through them. Are they I guess they're in order from most. Let's see, 12. Okay, I'll just start from the, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, you can start on, if you scroll up to the question and answer, the box, and you scroll up, you'll see from the time order. So from the earliest to latest.
Okay, so the first question I see, are there any grants for EV trucks and vehicles? And yes, that is the ZIP program. That is for medium and heavy duty commercial vehicles. So you definitely want to look into that one.
I do want to say that phase 2 is currently closed. They have received the maximum. It's been an overwhelming response with that program. So it is currently, they have received applications to complete the funding or exceeds the funding at this moment. So stay on, be on the lookout for any more funding coming to that program in the future.
Yeah. Okay. Next one, we would like to set up food truck, right, for profit and nonprofit to help serve the community. It is possible to receive a grant to help with the truck and the space needed to assist the community. Um, Trucks, besides the zero emission trucks, generally rolling stock is not something that is covered. I apologize. We get the question about food trucks a lot. However, the Small Business Improvement Grant is open to nonprofits. So if it was a different type of space or you're working out of a different space, then some of the work in that space could be eligible. Okay, next one. Landlord cannot have an interest in tenants. What if the business is real estate and owned by different corporations? Oops, I just lost that one. What if the business and real estate is owned by different corporations and both corporations are owned by the same person?
That is a good question. We would have to, you can reach out to us and we'll provide our email. Our emails are up on the screen right now. If you send us an email, we can definitely get that answer for you.
Yeah, if it's the same person and it's just owned under two separate EINs, then probably not. For the lease grant, for the improvement grant, you can own the property. But you can't be the landlord that fixes it up for somebody else's business. That makes sense. But if you're a business owner that owns that property, you're eligible for the improvement grant.
All right, so next question for cannabis businesses, if they receive a joint venture grant, are they also eligible for the lease or improvement grant? So for both the lease and improvement grant, anybody who is in the cannabis industry would not be eligible to receive these grants. Can the term commitment be 2 years with a 3-year option? So it does have to have, the lease does have to state a 5-year minimum term.
Okay, timeline for processing the grants. Okay, you're talking about the Small Business Improvement Grant, I'm guessing. That is our most popular grant. It's our most generous grant. It's open to the most people. We allow folks to go back 2 years, which means there's lots of people. So that's all the good news. There was just additional funding added to the grant. All good news. The not so good news is that it's going to take a while. From the time the grant application is received, it could take anywhere from 6 to 7 months to get your grant. That's just the truth. We are adding temps, we're training people. The volume has slowed down a bit. So people that are applying now will probably see a better turnaround than the people that applied when it first opened, because we had a huge backlog of thousands of grants. So sorry, I wish we could make it move faster. But the good news is that there is enough funding to fund everybody that's in the queue, and we are still taking applications, and additional money has just been added. So it is a great program. Also keep in mind that Small Business Improvement Grant is one time per lifetime per EIN. So if you're going to apply and you need to do things to your business, just make sure that you apply for the maximum amount. Don't do things just because the grant's out there, but just take advantage. We have seen some grants come in that are for, $5,000, and the business owner says, oh no, I should have, done more, because they didn't realize it was a one-time grant. So just something to keep in mind.
All right, I did see a question there about somebody who did apply for the Small Business Improvement Grant. If you'd like, you can email one of us or both of us. You can email us your application number and we can definitely get a status update for you. But again, we are, like Kathy said, we are in a backlog and we're working diligently with our team to get up to speed. So thank you for your patience. And again, send us an email. We'd be happy to get a status update for you.
The daycare improvement grant, I don't know. I know it's better than the Small Business Improvement Grant. I know that several awards were just made recently. So if you shoot us an email, I can get you more information on that. But I know that it is moving faster than the other grants.
Great. So Jason is looking to raise startup money for pop-up food events and inventory and find a space for a brick and mortar store. Which grant makes the most sense for him, for his business? So like we said, the improvement grant is a reimbursement grant, so you have to have incurred the cost at the time of application. And the lease grant is for those who have just signed a new lease for a new space. So if you're looking for startup capital, that seed capital, I would recommend working with one of our community development financial institutions, CDFIs, who do provide loans for startup businesses without needing collateral, like a traditional bank loan. Anybody looking for more information for the Child Care Improvement Grant or any of our other grants, please feel free to visit our website, njeda.gov. And you can also email us for assistance in navigating all the programs that we do have to offer.
Okay, I see a couple more questions here about the improvement grant. I'm almost done with a major renovation for my building. Do I qualify? It depends on the building. If the building also houses your business, then most likely, yes. It is a reimbursement grant, so the work has to be done, completed, and paid for, and then you can apply. If you go to the website for the Small Business Improvement Grant, there's really helpful tools there. There is a application eligibility questionnaire. You go through that and it'll tell you everything you need. There's also a printout of the application in PDF format, so you can see what the application is going to look like and make sure you have everything, all together. Is rent included as an eligible expense? No. So reimbursement, there's no soft costs. So no like architectural services, rent, processing fees, software, those things are not eligible. It's hard costs, construction, furniture, fixtures, equipment, and that could be new roof, new AC, new doors, new windows, new walls, the paint, everything you buy at Home Depot, the flooring, specific equipment to your business. If you're a printer or you're a photographer or whatever your business is, and you have specialized equipment for that business, that is all covered, but those soft costs are not. I'm trying to keep some sort of logical order here, guys. Tell me if I'm missing.
So if you're looking for office space, as long as it has that Main Street level component to it, if I could walk off the street and enter your office space, then yes, you could qualify for the lease grant. Just remember, again, it's minimum of 250 square feet.
Okay.
Any home-based businesses interested in the improvement grant, just note that it's only for furniture, fixtures, and equipment. There is no deadline for the improvement grant as well. So we're still receiving applications. Like Kathy said, we just got additional funding. So we don't have no real deadline for it at the moment.
Yes. Okay. Here's another, we didn't cover this. Great question. Can a business apply for both the small business lease and the small business improvement? Thank you for that, because we should have mentioned that. Yes, all these programs are stackable. In fact, you could apply for the e-commerce, the small business lease, and the small business improvement grant if you were eligible for all of them. So yes, you can stack them. Okay.
And this is a good question for our e-commerce support program. So the consultant will walk you through the process, but you will need a tax clearance certificate, and they'll explain how to acquire your tax clearance certificate. Any kind of documents that they'll need, they'll walk you through the process.
Okay. And then I see for small business e-commerce support program, is childcare eligible? That's a great question. And I have to tell you, I don't know, because I haven't gotten that one before, but shoot us an email and we will check with the people that are running the program and have them get back to you.
Absolutely. And you should complete all the work before applying to the improvement grant. So again, it's a reimbursement grant. So all the projects have to have been completed and paid for at the time of application. Any kind of cost incurred after the application date will not be eligible to be reimbursed.
Okay, nice. See, I provide personal care products as a hair loss center. How may I apply for that grant? I'm not sure which one. Hair loss center, which grant were you talking about? Yeah, let us know which grant you are. Potentially e-commerce, if it's a service, then yes. Okay.
Let's see. The lease grant is only for those leasing a space. It's not for purchasing a property.
Hey, am I correct in understanding that the MVP voucher program has been replenished as in phase 2 and is reopened? Yes. Yes, very exciting. That just happened, actually. So
Awesome.
I'm not sure if it's reopened, but there was additional money put in. I would go to the website for each of these programs. The website is is really the best resource, and there's always an email on there that goes directly to the people that manage that specific program. And you can always come to Michelle and I too. But if that's what we do, I mean, if there's a specific program that we don't know about, we go to that person who manages the program.
Absolutely. For a vending machine business, so for the e-commerce support program, you do have to have a physical location. It cannot be like a mobile kind of business or a home-based business. You have to have a physical storefront.
Okay.
And-
if go ahead.
Sorry, where do you fill out the grant application? You can go to the website. You can look under Small Business Services and Financing, and you should be able to find our Small Business Improvement Grant, our Small Business Lease Grant, and our Small Business E-commerce Support Program.
Okay, another question. If grant funding was received during the state from COVID, can you still apply for the Small Business Improvement Grant? Absolutely. Totally different grants, doesn't matter. The only thing you can't do is you can't double dip. Like if you paid for something for with one program, well, actually, no, I'm wrong. The COVID programs, you didn't have to prove what you're spending the money on, so it doesn't matter. But if the only time, like if you got a grant for solar panels from another state agency, and then you couldn't apply to the Small Business Improvement Grant for those solar panels again. So that's what I mean when I say you can't double dip. But if you had received COVID funds, you can absolutely apply for these programs. Yeah,
absolutely. The max for the improvement grant, so you have to have a minimum of $5,000, and you can submit for a maximum of $100,000 in eligible expenses.
Okay.
And for those asking to what are the requirements to be an authorized consultant on the e-commerce support program, this program went through a bidding process and it is now closed. We have 7 consultants for this program, but you can always look on the website, njeda.gov/bidding.
Yep. And as this was the first round of the program, and we do anticipate and have our fingers crossed that it's going to continue to grow. So that's definitely something I would look into. Okay, so the hair loss program, hair loss center. So if you're providing a service and people can walk into your business and you are on a main street, you most likely would be eligible for that program. That's a service business, and that could be for giving people the ability to book appointments on your website, giving you an e-commerce site where people could buy products. They could help you with marketing and even SEO. That's really a great program. So I would definitely reach out to the consultants and they can verify your eligibility, but I believe that you could be eligible.
Okay, so I do see a question here. You are the founder of a nonprofit, and since it does not have a credit card, the majority was paid with a personal credit card or director. You will have to submit proof of payment. So as long as you can provide bank statements, copies of checks, receipts, right, that detail what was purchased and how it was paid for, you should be able to submit all that. There's a lot of businesses who don't have a business credit card but as long as you can provide that kind of documentation, you should be fine.
Mm-hmm. Okay, can vending machine owners qualify for any of these 3 grants? I don't know. Off the top of my head, I can't think of an application. I apologize. Things that are mobile are a little tricky. I would check with a counselor at the Small Business Development Center. There also are sometimes other grants for startups, but that are not through the NJEDA. So that might be your best bet.
I see a question here. Is there anyone available to help us compile the necessary documents and apply for the grants at the NJEDA? So our website, and I keep going back to it because it's just such a great resource. So for example, if you go under the Small Business Improvement Grant, you'll be able to download the flyer, download a checklist of all the documents you'll need. You'll also be able to download a sample PDF application, which pretty much walks you through the process of every question, what you'll need, what it is, and how to fill it out. So that's one of the resources. And of course, you can always contact the SBDC. I know that they've been helping a lot of small businesses in New Jersey apply for some of the grants at the NJEDA. So you can definitely use all those resources.
Okay. Does being a warehouse count as a storefront? It depends what you're talking about. If you're talking about the lease grant and your first floor, then that wouldn't disqualify you. But if you're talking about the e-commerce grant, probably not. It has to be a commercial retail location. Max for the improvement grant. This is a very generous grant. The maximum award is $50,000, and it's a 50% reimbursement grant. So if you had $100,000 of expenses and you had all the receipts and all the documentation and proof of payment, you could be reimbursed up to $50,000.
Excellent. Joe, you received grant funding from the state during COVID. You can still apply to the Small Business Improvement Grant.
Okay, let's see.
Anybody in the cannabis industry is not eligible for both the lease and improvement grant. We do have our cannabis equity program, but that is the only program you would be able to qualify for in the cannabis industry. And that's the only program we have currently available at the EDA.
Okay. I see a question. How difficult is the application process? Do you have to hire a grant writer, or should you hire a grant writer? No, it is not difficult. It's just tedious. Is that good, Michelle?
Yeah.
If you keep good records, you'll have everything that you need. You need, your tax returns, your WR-30,
your formation
documents, your tax clearance certificate. It's not anything that is hard to get. It just sometimes takes a little time to put it all together. That's why we recommend looking at the application checklist before you actually start the application. The other thing is, if there's one piece of the puzzle or one piece that you're missing, like sometimes I've had people call me up and say, the contractor won't fill out that the affirmative action form for me. I've asked them like 5 times and they won't do it. So what I say to them is just upload a note that says you can't get the form, but here's everything else. And then at least you get in line, you get in the queue, and your application will begin to be processed. And then when it's processed, then, they'll revisit that and try to figure out a way to get it. But if you're missing one little thing like that, don't keep it from, go ahead and apply and just put a little note of exclamation in there.
Absolutely. So for those asking about the Angel Match program, if you want to know if your business is eligible, I would the best way to find out more information would be to email angelmatch@njeda.com. So if you email them, somebody from our team will be able to walk you through the process and see if your business would qualify for this program.
Okay. I see another question. Can churches apply? Nonprofits are eligible. The only instance that a church or other religious organization would be able to apply for would be for a non-religious use. So a summer camp building that's open to everyone, that would be eligible. I'm not an expert in this area, but I know that there have been, grants that have been approved for the religious organizations, but they have been for non-religious facilities.
They have to have some sort of business component to them. So a daycare center, right? Some churches, there are many churches in New Jersey that have a daycare center as part of the facility. So that would qualify, but it does have to have some sort of business component to it.
Do you have to pay taxes on grants? Yes, you will be issued a and I forget the name of the form, you will be issued a form saying that you received the grant. So yes, unfortunately.
Sorry, there's another question about the improvement grant. So, equipment. So let's say, for example, you do printing services, but you are a home-based business. So you bought a laptop, a desk, a chair. If you have like a machine that you use to do the 3D printing, that would qualify. So it's anything related to furniture, fixtures, or equipment. But let's say you've replaced the windows in your home office, that would not be eligible.
I'm asking for another startup on like the Main Street loan. Yeah, the micro loan. The micro loan, we hope that it's going to come back again, but we don't know. It's a very popular program. As you know, it was subscribed in like 2 days. It was designed to support micro businesses. You know, everybody on our team wants it to come back, you know, and we've asked for it to come back, but, you know, we don't get to decide, unfortunately. These things are, because we're government, it has to be voted on and it has to actually get written into law. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that it's going to come back, you know, at some point, but right now we don't know. As soon as we know, we'll let you know. And we know that's a really valuable program. Yeah. And just one other thing that I wanted to mention is that in yesterday's board meeting, the EDA board voted for a new Black and Latino seed fund. And it's being funded, I believe, with $20 million to start. And it's to help early stage business owners. So that early stage startup phase. So just something to keep your eye on. It's not open yet, but they just voted to create it. And I'm pretty excited because I think that's going to help a lot of business owners.
Somebody has a question. Do you need to have employees in order to qualify for the grant? No, you don't. We do have home-based businesses, people who are consultants, sole proprietors that have applied for the grant. So you don't necessarily have to have employees.
Okay. I see a question. Does the lease grant include CAM, base and CAM? I'm not sure what that means.
Let's see. Well, if you can explain what CAM is, we'll be able to answer that. Somebody said, I do not recall if the 7-8 month window was for the improvement grant. So that is for the improvement grant. It can take up to can take a few months for you to hear back from somebody processing your grant. For the lease grant, the wait time is much shorter. It can take a few weeks before somebody is assigned to process your application. So you should, if you are eligible for the lease grant, the wait time is much shorter.
Yeah. And then again, another one, if you get a micro loan, could you be eligible for the other grants as well? Yes, absolutely. Here's a home-based business must be a tenant or owner. So for a home-based business, don't worry about it. If you're a home-based business and you're working out of your own home, you are eligible only for furnitures, fixtures, and equipment that are used only for your business. So that's the simplest way to do it. It can be only for your business, not the couch, you know, but a desk, filing cabinet, a network server, you know, specific equipment to that business. It's narrow, but it is open to home base for those things.
We have a question from Megan. It is not a silly question. The NJEDA and the NJSBDC are separate entities, but we work in collaboration with each other. We're constantly looking for ways to support each other and support our business communities.
Okay. And then I see another one, a home-based e-commerce company, unfortunately, would not be eligible at this time. So the e-commerce grant that was just rolled out, it's only rolled out a couple of months ago, is very narrow because it's the first time we're offering the service. So that's why it's retail, restaurant, and professional services with a commercial retail location. And that's on purpose because we want to be able to manage it. If we opened it up broader than that, it would be too hard, right? So it could expand in the future, but we just don't know. But right now you have to have a physical storefront for that e-commerce grant.
So I see, Megan, you have a follow-up question. So it depends on where you, what stage of your business you are in. If you are in the startup planning phase, I would recommend starting with the NJSBDC to help you go through the process of registering your business and getting some counseling on the different topics that you may need. Once you're in the stage where you feel like you may qualify for one of these grants, obviously you can always come to us, and we're always happy to point you in the right direction. And I do see a few questions, just similar questions about startup capital. A lot of these grants are not startup capital grants, right? So if you are looking for that startup capital, please connect with the SBDC, connect with us. We can point you in the right direction to our community development financial institutions who provide startup capital loans for businesses who have just registered or just starting out and need that working capital.
Okay. Are we still
Kathy,
okay to keep answering questions, or still more? It's up to you.
there's a lot more. We are reaching our time limit
Okay.
for 1 p.m. Usually, you know, if we do have a presentation that goes over, but I think we've answered a good amount of questions, and thank you all so much for participating. We really appreciate it. I think we can wrap up our Q&A session at the moment. Thank
And-
you, Kathy and Michelle. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, can everybody see our emails on the screen? Yeah.
Please
So
take a screenshot and
yes.
save it, and please
Yep.
reach out with any further specific questions.
Exactly. If we didn't answer your question, just shoot us an email. It may take us a couple of days to get back to you, but we will get back to you. Okay.
Awesome. Definitely take a picture, write it down. Kathy and Michelle, seriously, I mean, you guys have been so great with like answering questions with all the information. We really, really appreciate it. I'm sure our audience appreciates it as well. So I'm just going to share my screen quickly and go to our end of the post webinar. All right. So give me a moment. Okay, so both of you have been so great, and you know, if our audience is interested in having more NJEDA speakers, presenters come on our webinars, then you know, we highly recommend that our audience complete the survey. Please let us know if you want Michelle and Kathy back, and we'll do our best to do more sessions, because you know, that's what surveys are for. If you enjoyed this presentation, this webinar, then let us know. And through that way, by doing that, you will also receive the presentation, the slides that they presented. So, and this entire webinar, this recording will be available on our website, and I'll just quickly show the website after. But next week on Thursday, May 18th, we will have Ginny Rock Bailey. She's one of our specialty consultant, present on effective staff management for small business owners. Please take out your camera, scan the QR code, or just visit njsbdc.com events, and you'll find out more about this event there, or visit our Eventbrite page. And with that, I'm signing off. We are NJSBDC. We've helped 15,000 plus small business owners grow. We've been in existence for about 45 years now, just hit our 45th year last year. So no cost small business consulting, training events just like this one's, exclusive small business resources. You guys have been great today. Kathy and Michelle, thank you so much. We hope to see you, have another webinar with you guys soon. And yeah, signing off with that. Today is a beautiful day. I hope you get to take a walk outside. All right, take care.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thanks. Bye-bye.